Love in 1817 was rarely about stolen glances, poetry, or fate. For women without money, love was arithmetic. A respectable name plus a respectable dowry might equal a husband. Beauty could compensate for a smaller fortune. Silence could compensate for a lack of beauty. Obedience helped with everything. Eleanor Harcourt possessed none of those useful qualities. She was 27 years old, nearly penniless, and had the unfortunate habit of noticing when men lied. Worse, she usually told them. Her aunt considered this a moral defect. No man with sense will marry a woman who knows more than he does. Aunt Beatrice delivered the sentence over breakfast as calmly as if she were commenting on the rain. Eleanor did not look up. She was sitting at the far end of a dining table in a room that had once been magnificent. Now the silver was gone, 2 chairs had been sold, and a brown stain spread across the ceiling where the roof leaked whenever the weather turned. 3 household ledgers lay beside Eleanor's plate. She was trying to discover how 8 people were supposed to eat for the next 6 weeks on 11 pounds, 9 shillings, and an elderly cow. I imagine, Eleanor said, dipping her pen into the ink. That depends entirely upon how little the man knows. The spoon in Beatrice's hand struck the saucer. You see, her aunt turned toward her daughter. Cecily, that is precisely what I mean. Cecily Harcourt was 21, golden-haired, blue-eyed, and possessed the rare talent of looking innocent while calculating the annual income of every unmarried man within 50 miles. She hid a smile behind her teeth. I think Eleanor was making a joke, Mama. Jokes are for married women. Beatrice looked back at Eleanor. Unmarried women should be pleasant. Eleanor wrote another number. If pleasantness paid the butcher, I would cultivate it immediately. Her aunt's face tightened. 6 years earlier, Eleanor's father, Thomas Harcourt, had died under a cloud of disgrace. He had managed estates and investments for several wealthy families. Then £13,426 vanished. Accounts appeared bearing his signature. 3 investors lost fortunes. Lord Silas Vale, the wealthiest of them, accused Thomas publicly. Thomas insisted the records had been forged. No one believed him. 3 months later, he was dead. Creditors took Eleanor's childhood home. Society took her father's reputation. Aunt Beatrice took Eleanor in and reminded her of the generosity every morning. You ought to be grateful, Beatrice said. I am. You do not behave like it. I keep your accounts. Because you have nowhere else to go. That landed harder. Eleanor's pen stopped. Beatrice saw it. Cruel people were often excellent marksmen. The older woman leaned back. Lady Pembroke's sister is seeking a companion. Eleanor looked up. No, you have not heard the terms. I heard the word companion. £30 a year. For what? Reading. Sewing. Conversation. Eleanor waited. Beatrice looked away. And assisting Lady Pembroke with her health. Her health. Cecily suddenly became fascinated by her toast. Eleanor narrowed her eyes. What is wrong with Lady Pembroke? Beatrice sighed. She has a difficult temperament. How difficult? She struck her previous companion with a fireplace poker. Eleanor stared. Only once. That is reassuring. You cannot remain here forever. I earn my keep. You write numbers in books. I prevented the bailiff from taking your dining table last month. Beatrice's face reddened. And you think that gives you power? No, Eleanor closed the ledger. It gives me knowledge. That was worse. Her aunt stood. The chair scraped across the floor. You are 27. You have no dowry, no prospects, and a disgraced father whose name still closes doors. Your hair is too dark, your tongue is vicious, and half the county believes your family stole from them. Eleanor said nothing. You behave as though you have choices. Beatrice stepped closer. You do not. Silence stretched across the cold dining room. Then her aunt delivered the sentence Eleanor had heard in 100 different forms for 6 years. No gentleman will ever want you. Eleanor's fingers tightened around the pen. Beatrice was not finished. And certainly no duke. The nib snapped. A drop of black ink splashed across Eleanor's thumb. She stared at it. Black against pale skin. A stain. Like her father's name. Eleanor stood. Where are you going? To the village. It is snowing. I noticed. For what purpose? To persuade Mr. Bell not to sue us. Beatrice's mouth opened. Eleanor gathered the ledgers. Unless pleasantness has already paid him. Then she walked out. The snow became vicious before Eleanor reached the Old North Road. Wind drove it sideways across the fields, swallowing the hedges and turning the world white. Her boots were soaked. Her fingers ached. The village was another mile away. Mr. Bell would complain. Eleanor would show him the accounts. He would threaten legal action. She would remind him that bankrupting the Harcourts would recover approximately 6 shillings and a cow. Then he would give them another month. It was an exhausting ritual. She was deciding how sarcastic she could safely be when she heard a hoarse scream. Eleanor stopped. The sound came again beyond the bend. Then wood cracked. A man shouted. Eleanor ran. She rounded the hill and nearly slipped. A black carriage had overturned beside the road. One wheel still spun in the air. 2 horses thrashed in their harnesses. A driver lay in the snow. Beside the carriage, a man was trying to stand. He failed. He dropped to one knee. Blood covered the left side of his coat. Eleanor froze. The man looked up. Even half collapsed in the snow, he did not look helpless. He was tall, broad-shouldered, perhaps 32. Dark hair had fallen across his forehead. His face was sharply cut and severe enough to be intimidating even while he was bleeding. His eyes were gray, cold gray, the sort of eyes that probably made servants confess to crimes they had not committed. "Do you intend to stand there all afternoon?" he asked. Eleanor blinked. "You are remarkably rude for a dying man." "I am not dying." He tried to rise. His knees buckled. Eleanor reached him before his face hit the snow. His weight nearly took them both down. "You are doing a convincing imitation. I have been shot. I gathered that from the blood." His head turned. For 1 second, genuine surprise crossed his face. Then pain erased it. "Help the driver." Eleanor looked toward the overturned carriage. The coachman groaned. "Alive. Good." She eased the stranger against the wheel. "Stay there. I do not take orders. You have been shot, fallen out of a carriage, and are sitting in a ditch." She stood. "I believe your authority has temporarily diminished." Something unexpected happened. The wounded man laughed. Briefly, painfully, but genuinely. 10 minutes later, Eleanor had established 3 things. The coachman's leg was probably broken. The horses were frightened but unharmed. And someone had deliberately fired at the carriage. 2 bullet holes marked the door. Eleanor looked down the empty road. "Highwayman." The stranger's expression hardened. "No, how comforting. You should leave." "So should you. There may be men nearby." Then bleeding visibly beside the road seems an ineffective hiding strategy. His jaw tightened. "You argue excessively." "So I am told." Eleanor crouched beside him. "Can you walk?" "Yes." That was not a philosophical question. "I can walk." "Excellent." She pointed toward a stone cottage barely visible through the snow. "There is an abandoned tollkeeper's house half a mile away." He stared. "You intend to take me there?" "I intend to prevent you from freezing to death before I discover why people are firing pistols on my aunt's land." "Your aunt?" "Beatrice Harcourt." The man went still. "Harcourt," Eleanor noticed. "Yes." "Your father was Thomas Harcourt?" There it was. Recognition. The old familiar thing. She stood. "Oh, what does that mean?" "It means you have heard of him." The man said nothing. "That is answer enough." "Miss Harcourt." "What?" "I did not say I believe the stories." "You did not say you disbelieve them either." Then Eleanor turned toward the coachman. "We move now." The tollkeeper's cottage had 1 room, 1 broken window, and a fireplace containing a bird's nest. Eleanor considered it luxurious compared with dying outside. She found dry wood beneath an overhang. The stranger found a bottle of cognac in the carriage. The coachman was carried inside on a detached carriage door, swearing the entire way. By sunset, the storm had swallowed the road. No one was leaving. Eleanor knelt in front of the wounded stranger. "Take off your coat." His eyebrow lifted. "If you intended to seduce me, Miss Harcourt, there were simpler methods." Eleanor stared at him. "You are losing blood through your waistcoat, and that is the sentence you chose." It seemed important to clarify expectations. "My expectations are that you stop speaking." She reached toward his coat. He caught her wrist. Fast. Far too fast for an injured man. His expression changed. "Dangerous now. Do not reach inside." Eleanor looked at his hand. Then his face. "Release me." A beat passed. He did. She rubbed her wrist. "What exactly are you hiding?" "Nothing." "You nearly broke my arm over nothing?" His mouth tightened. Eleanor studied him. Expensive boots. Excellent wool. A shirt finer than anything in Beatrice's house. A carriage constructed for wealth. A driver who called him sir, but watched him like a soldier watches an officer. And someone had tried to kill him. "You are not a merchant." No, politician. His mouth almost moved. Worse. Banker. The coachman coughed suspiciously. Eleanor looked between them. The stranger sighed. My name is Adrian. Adrian what? Tonight, Adrian will do. That is not suspicious at all. Miss Harcourt. Mr. Adrian. His eyes narrowed. She smiled. Then she cut his waistcoat open. You destroyed that. You were bleeding on it. It was made in Bond Street. I am sure Bond Street will survive the tragedy. He stared at her. Eleanor examined the wound. The ball had passed through the flesh beneath his shoulder. Ugly. Painful. But survivable. You are fortunate. I am often told that. No bone shattered. She poured cognac onto a cloth. He saw it. No, yes. That is 12-year cognac. It is now medicine. Absolutely not. Eleanor pressed it against the wound. Adrian swore. The coachman laughed. For the first time that day, Eleanor smiled. Adrian Ravenshaw, Duke of Blackmere, had been threatened by foreign spies, challenged by drunken lords, and shouted at by members of Parliament. None had irritated him as efficiently as Eleanor Harcourt. She had ruined his coat, used his cognac as antiseptic, ordered him to lie down, and had absolutely no idea who he was. It was extraordinary. Most women recognized Adrian before he entered a room. They recognized his title, his fortune, his unmarried status. Sometimes Adrian suspected no one had actually seen his face in 10 years. Eleanor saw it. Unfortunately, she usually looked displeased by it. You are staring. She sat by the fire, repairing the torn hem of her dress. I am thinking. Try doing it less loudly. Outside, the storm battered the cottage. The coachman slept. Adrian's shoulder burned. You defend your father quickly. The needle stopped. Eleanor did not look up. I do not defend him quickly. No. I have been defending him for 6 years. He handled investments for Lord Vale. Yes. £13,000 disappeared. 13,426. Adrian's gaze sharpened. You remember the exact amount. I remember every number. She continued sewing. That is why I know he did not steal it. Explain. She finally looked at him. Why? Because I asked. That may work on your servants. Adrian stilled. Eleanor's eyes dropped to his boots. Or soldiers. Silence. She had noticed. Of course she had. My father kept official ledgers and private calculations, she said. The accounts used to accuse him did not match the way he recorded transactions. That proves nothing. It proves whoever forged them copied his signature, but not his habits. What habits? My father never crossed the number 7. Adrian leaned forward. What? In his private calculations, his 7 was always plain. The forged records used crossed 7s. Adrian went still. Eleanor noticed. What is it? Nothing. You are a terrible liar. I am an excellent liar. Then I should be offended you are making so little effort. Adrian stood too quickly. Pain tore through his shoulder. He caught the mantle. Eleanor was beside him instantly. I told you not to move. You tell everyone many things. Only when they require instruction. Her hand pressed against his chest to steady him. Both stopped. It was a small thing. A hand. Nothing more. But Adrian became suddenly aware of the firelight, the snow, her dark eyes, and the ink stain still visible on her thumb. Eleanor removed her hand. Immediately. Your father's private ledgers, Adrian said. Gone. Destroyed. Missing. Who took them? If I knew that, Mr. Adrian, my life would be substantially easier. By morning, the storm stopped. A search party arrived before breakfast. Not villagers. Soldiers. 12 mounted men wearing the Blackmere crest. The officer jumped from his horse. Your Grace. Eleanor slowly turned. Adrian closed his eyes. Too late. The Duke of Blackmere, she said. Adrian said nothing. The officer's face went pale. Eleanor laughed once. There was no humor in it. Of course. Miss Harcourt, you might have mentioned it. I had reasons. I am certain dukes always do. You were safer not knowing. No, her voice became quiet. I was easier to observe not knowing. Adrian frowned. What? You spent the night asking about my father while hiding your own name. Because what you told me mattered. You knew who my father was immediately. Yes. And you chose not to tell me who you were. Yes. Then we are finished. She pulled her cloak tighter. Where are you going? To negotiate with a creditor. In these roads. Yes. You cannot. Eleanor looked at him. There it was. The voice of a duke. Adrian heard it too late. Cannot. I meant. No, Your Grace. You meant exactly what you said. She curtsied perfectly. It was more insulting than refusing. Then she walked away. 3 days later, Eleanor discovered that Mr. Bell no longer wished to sue. His clerk admitted a private arrangement had been made. Eleanor did not need a name. She went directly to Lord Weatherby's house and found Adrian in the study. "You paid my creditor. I purchased time. With money. I have a great deal of it. That is not a virtue. No, but occasionally it is useful. You cannot purchase my gratitude." Adrian's expression changed. "I was not purchasing gratitude." "Then what were you purchasing?" He had no answer. Eleanor placed a promissory note on his desk. "I will repay you." "You do not need to." "Then I will repay you faster." For the first time, Adrian smiled. "You are impossible." "So I am told." His smile faded. "I discovered something about your father." Eleanor stopped. "One of Thomas Harcourt's former clerks is alive. Samuel Price. He says the night before your father was accused, Thomas carried a locked document box to your aunt's house." Eleanor stared. "Oakridge." "Yes." He told Price. "If they take the office, they will not take the truth." Her breath caught. "And the men who shot you." "I had been traveling to meet Price." Eleanor went still. Vale knew. "I believe so." "Then he may know you spoke to me." "Yes." "Why did you not tell me sooner?" Adrian hesitated. Eleanor understood. "Because you still think information belongs to you until you decide I may have it." He said nothing. She was right. Again. 4 nights later, Weatherby House held the largest winter ball of the season. Eleanor attended only because Beatrice insisted. Cecily had spent hours preparing. Eleanor wore a 6-year-old dark green gown and expected to disappear against the wall. Then the Duke of Blackmere entered. The ballroom changed around him. Adrian looked nothing like the bleeding stranger from the snow. In black evening clothes and silver insignia, he appeared every inch the man who could silence a room simply by entering it. His eyes found Eleanor immediately. He crossed the ballroom. Beatrice curtsied deeply. Cecily followed. Eleanor only inclined her head. "Your Grace." "Miss Harcourt. No gunshot wounds tonight?" she asked. "I am making an effort." Adrian held out his hand. "Dance with me." No, a dozen nearby conversations died. His eyebrow rose. Then he leaned closer. "The man who tried to kill me is standing 15 yards behind you." Eleanor's expression changed. She placed her hand in his. "Very well. You manipulated me," she said. "Yes." "You admitted that quickly. I am learning from you." "Poorly. Look at the far wall." Eleanor did. Lord Silas Vale stood beneath a portrait, silver-haired and perfectly composed. "He hired the men?" "I believe so." "Believe." "One gunman escaped. The other was wounded and captured yesterday." Eleanor's grip tightened. He spoke. "Enough." "Enough for what?" "To say he was paid by Vale's estate secretary." "That is not Vale himself." "No. Which is why I need the records your father hid." Eleanor looked at Adrian. "The box at Oakridge?" "Yes." "Do you think it is still there?" "I think Beatrice may not even know where Thomas hid it." Eleanor's eyes narrowed. "My father never trusted obvious places." "What does that mean?" She almost answered, then remembered something. A sentence from childhood. "Never trust the obvious column, Ellie. Truth likes margins." Her heart began to beat faster. Adrian saw it. "What?" "I may know where to look." "I will come with you." "No, absolutely not." "You are doing the Duke voice again." "There are men willing to shoot me over these papers." "Which is precisely why the Duke of Blackmere cannot walk into my aunt's house at midnight and begin opening shelves. I am not allowing you to go alone." "You are not allowing." Adrian closed his eyes. Poor choice of words. "Extremely." He leaned closer. "Then I am asking you not to go alone." Eleanor studied him. "Captain Ellis may follow at a distance." Adrian blinked. "That is suspiciously reasonable. Do not become accustomed to it." They agreed. Eleanor left the ball early. Captain Ellis and 2 men followed several minutes later. Oakridge House was silent when Eleanor entered. Beatrice and Cecily had not yet returned. Eleanor took a candle and went to the old library. Most of her father's books had been sold, but one shelf remained. Sermons, classics, a damaged atlas, Plutarch, her father's favorite. Eleanor pulled it down. Notes filled the margins. His handwriting. Her throat tightened. She turned pages. Nothing. Then she felt the spine. Too thick. She took a small knife from the desk and cut the lining. A folded sheet slid out. Then another. Then a key. Eleanor stopped breathing. The key belonged to a narrow iron cash box beneath the floorboards near the old desk. She remembered it from childhood. Her father had used it for household deeds. Eleanor moved the rug. One board showed fresh scratches despite 6 years of dust. She pried it up. The box was still there. Locked. The key turned. Inside lay 3 ledgers. Letters. Bank drafts. And a sealed statement signed by Thomas Harcourt. Eleanor's hands shook. She opened the first ledger. Numbers. Names. Shell companies. Transfers. S. Vale. Again. And again. And again. Behind her, a floorboard creaked. Eleanor turned. Beatrice stood in the doorway. But she was not alone. A man stood behind her. Vale's estate secretary. Mr. Crowley. Eleanor's blood went cold. Crowley held a pistol. Beatrice's face was white. "What have you found?" she whispered. Eleanor slowly closed the ledger. "Something that belonged to my father." Crowley stepped forward. "Give it to me." "No," Beatrice's voice cracked. "Eleanor, please." Eleanor looked at her. "Please. Give him the box." "You knew?" Beatrice's face collapsed. Crowley's eyes narrowed. "This is not the time." Eleanor ignored him. "You knew Papa was innocent." Beatrice whispered. "Not everything." "How much?" "Enough." The answer hurt worse than a lie. Eleanor stared. "Why?" Beatrice's eyes filled. "Vale came to me after the accounts disappeared. Your father had already refused to sign the confession. Vale said if Thomas fought the accusation, he would destroy all of us. So you helped him." "I protected Cecily." "And yourself." "I protected the house." "At Papa's expense." One ruined man was better than 4 ruined lives. The words echoed. Beatrice heard them after they left her mouth. She covered her lips. Eleanor's face went still. "That is what you told yourself." Beatrice began to cry. Crowley swore. "Enough." "The papers." Eleanor backed toward the desk. Then she smelled it. Oil. Not across the floor. On Crowley's coat. A metal flask hung from his hand. He had come prepared. Eleanor looked at Beatrice. "You brought him here to burn it." Beatrice shook her head. "I did not know you would be here." That made it worse. Crowley had intended to destroy the library whether Eleanor found the documents or not. Outside, somewhere beyond the trees, a horse shifted. "Captain Ellis." Eleanor needed time. She lifted the ledger. "You cannot burn the only copy." Crowley smiled. "Oh, I think I can." He reached for it. Eleanor threw the candle. Not at him. At the window. Glass shattered. The flame went out in the snow. Crowley cursed. Eleanor screamed. "Ellis." The gun fired. Wood exploded beside her head. Outside, men shouted. Crowley seized the oil flask and flung it toward the fireplace. Beatrice screamed. Flame climbed the rug instantly. Crowley ran for the rear door. Eleanor grabbed the iron box. Smoke rolled across the room. Beatrice stumbled. "Eleanor, get out." "I cannot." A burning curtain fell between them. Eleanor shoved the box beneath her cloak. She tried to cross. Heat drove her back. The door crashed open. Captain Ellis entered with 2 men. "Miss Harcourt." "My aunt." One soldier reached Beatrice. Ellis grabbed Eleanor's arm. "Out." "The ledgers, now." They ran. A beam fell behind them. Outside, Eleanor collapsed into the snow coughing. Captain Ellis turned. "Where is Crowley?" "Back door." A soldier mounted immediately. Ellis looked toward the road. Adrian would be told. He had ordered exactly that if anything went wrong. What none of them knew was that Adrian was already coming. At Weatherby House, Lord Vale had disappeared from the ballroom 10 minutes after Eleanor left. Adrian noticed. Then a groom reported Vale's carriage racing south. Adrian did not wait. He mounted. 2 miles from Oakridge, he saw the fire. For one terrible second, his heart stopped. He drove the horse harder. When he reached the lawn, servants were shouting. Flames climbed the library windows. Adrian jumped down. "Eleanor." Captain Ellis turned. "She is out." Adrian found her in the snow. Soot streaked her face. Blood ran from a cut near her temple. But she was standing. Relief nearly dropped him. He reached her. "What in God's name happened?" "Crowley. Vale's man. He came to burn the records." "Where is he?" Ellis sent men after him. Adrian saw the iron box in her hands. "You found them?" "Yes." Her voice broke. "I found everything." Adrian looked at her. Then Beatrice, sitting 20 feet away beneath a blanket, staring at the flames. He understood enough. "Your aunt." She knew. Eleanor's mouth trembled. She knew Papa was innocent. Adrian stepped closer. Eleanor did not move away. That mattered. He took the box from her, not because she could not carry it, because her hands had begun to shake. Come with me. This time, he did not command. He asked. Eleanor nodded. Crowley was captured before dawn. Under questioning, he admitted that Lord Silas Vale had ordered both the attack on Adrian's carriage and the destruction of Thomas Harcourt's remaining records. Soldiers entered Vale House at sunrise and found him burning correspondence. One surviving letter instructed Crowley that Adrian's carriage must not reach Price alive. The ledgers completed the case. Thomas Harcourt had discovered that Vale was moving money through false companies and forged mortgages. Vale had redirected the missing funds through accounts bearing Thomas's signature, then used Thomas's disgrace to bury the theft. By noon, 2 bankers and a magistrate reached the same conclusion. Thomas Harcourt was innocent. Eleanor heard the words in a quiet room at Blackmere House. She had imagined this moment for 6 years. She had imagined triumph. Instead, something inside her collapsed. I knew, she whispered. I know, Adrian said. No one believed me. I do. Tears came. Adrian did not touch her or tell her to be calm. He simply stayed. In the days that followed, he did something Eleanor had not expected. He stopped deciding for her. He brought her every document before releasing the public statement. He gave her access to investigators. When reporters came, he stood beside her but let her speak. Beatrice admitted that Vale had threatened to destroy the family if Thomas fought the accusation. She had chosen the safety of Cecily and Oakridge over her brother. Eleanor did not forgive her, but she refused to ask for prison. There are punishments other than cells, she told Adrian. He understood. A week later, Eleanor stood in Blackmere's account room. Dozens of ledgers surrounded her. Adrian entered carrying 2 cups of coffee. You have been here 4 hours. Yes. You missed luncheon. I noticed. Did you? No, he placed a cup beside her. She looked at it. You remembered how I take it. No sugar. Most men would consider that insignificant. I am learning what is dangerous to forget. Eleanor smiled. Adrian leaned against the desk. I need to ask you something. Her smile disappeared. That sounds ominous. It is. Have you lost another carriage? No, been shot again? No, then proceed. He took a breath. I spent most of my life believing power meant entering a room and having everyone move. That does sound like you. Eleanor. Sorry. You are not. No, he smiled faintly. Then seriousness returned. I tried to decide for you more than once. Yes. I used money because it was easier than asking what you wanted. Yes. I withheld information because I thought I knew when you should have it. Yes. You could disagree occasionally. I will consider it when you become less accurate. Adrian walked closer. I do not want obedience from you. Eleanor's heart changed rhythm. I should hope not. I do not want gratitude. She stopped breathing. And I do not want to rescue you. Her eyes lifted. Adrian stood in front of her. I want you beside me. Silence. I want the woman who looked at me bleeding in the snow and complained about my manners. A laugh escaped her. I want the woman who noticed my lies before she knew my name. Another step. The woman who remembers every number anyone used to hurt her father. Another. The woman who walked into a room full of people who had judged her for 6 years and refused to lower her eyes. He stopped. And I want the only person I have ever met who can tell me I am an arrogant fool and somehow make me grateful for the information. Eleanor's throat tightened. Adrian, marry me. The room became very quiet. He did not kneel. She liked that. They stood facing each other. Equal height of spirit, if not body. You cannot possibly be serious. I have rarely been more serious. I have no dowry. I have enough money. I am 27. I can count. You are a duke. So I have been informed. Society will talk. It talks when I change tailors. My aunt will say I trapped you. Your aunt helped conceal a financial conspiracy for 6 years. I am not seeking her opinion. Eleanor almost smiled. Then she became serious. This cannot be gratitude. It is not. Or rebellion. No. Or fascination with a ruined woman. Adrian's expression hardened. Do not describe yourself that way. You did once look at me like a curiosity. Yes. He did not hide from it. At first, Eleanor waited. What changed? Adrian took her ink-stained hand. His thumb moved over the dark mark near her finger. I learned the difference between wanting to understand you and wanting to stand beside you. Her throat tightened. I am not offering rescue, he said. I am offering partnership. That word broke through the final wall. Not protection. Not charity. Partnership. Eleanor swallowed. I want my own money. Adrian blinked. What? An independent account under my name. A slow smile appeared. Done. And access to every Blackmere estate ledger. His smile faded. Every ledger? Yes. That feels invasive. It is a condition. He sighed. Done. I will not stop disagreeing with you in public. I would become suspicious if you did. And if you ever order me onto a carriage, I remember. One more thing. Anything. Eleanor looked at their joined hands. I never want to live in a house where someone counts the coal. Adrian went still. He understood. Not the coal. The years behind it. The cold rooms. The humiliation. The fear of needing warmth controlled by someone else. He lifted her hand to his lips. You may burn an entire forest if it pleases you. That seems environmentally irresponsible. He closed his eyes. Eleanor. She smiled. Yes. His eyes opened. Yes. Yes. Adrian kissed her before she could construct another objection. 2 days later, Beatrice left for Bath with Cecily. Oakridge would be sold to settle its remaining debts. Eleanor met her aunt beside the hired carriage. Adrian waited near the gate, far enough to give them privacy. You came to gloat, Beatrice said. No, you should. For years I imagined what I would say when Papa's name was cleared. Beatrice looked away. I thought I would hate you, Eleanor said. And do you? No. That hurt Beatrice more than anger would have. I understand that Vale frightened you. You believed sacrificing Papa would save Cecily and the house. I had a daughter. And Papa had one too. Silence. Beatrice whispered. I was afraid. I know. You have no idea what fear makes people do. Eleanor looked at her. I lived with you for 6 years. Beatrice flinched. Then she said bitterly, At least you won. This was never about winning. Eleanor stepped back. You were right about one thing. I did not have choices. Beatrice's chin lifted. So, Eleanor continued, I learned to make them. Will I hear from you? Eleanor considered it. No, she watched the carriage leave. Adrian came to stand beside her and offered his arm. Eleanor took it. 3 weeks later, the Duke of Blackmere held a winter assembly at Ravenshaw House. Everyone came. Of course they did. Vale's trial had become the scandal of the season. Thomas Harcourt's innocence had been printed in every major newspaper. And the Duke's engagement was irresistible. The ballroom glittered beneath hundreds of candles. Eleanor stood at the top of the staircase. She wore dark red, not debutante white, not innocent blue. Red. Her father's restored signet hung from a chain around her neck. Below, the same people who had ignored her for 6 years waited to greet her. Some looked embarrassed, others delighted. Several had already rewritten history in their own minds and now claimed they had always suspected Thomas Harcourt was innocent. Society had a miraculous ability to discover principles after danger had passed. Adrian stood beside her. Ready? No, excellent. She looked at him. That was not encouraging. I was told not to decide how you should feel. You are learning. Slowly. Together they descended. Conversation softened. Heads turned. Eleanor recognized faces. Men who had crossed the street to avoid her. Women who had stopped inviting Cecily to tea because of the Harcourt scandal. People who had called Thomas a thief while drinking wine purchased with money he had once managed for them. For a moment, Eleanor felt 21 again. Cold. Ashamed. Alone. Then Adrian's hand covered hers. Not pulling. Not directing. Simply there. She looked at him. He raised one eyebrow. Run. Eleanor smiled. Absolutely not. They entered the ballroom. Later, the orchestra began a waltz. Adrian held out his hand. Dance with me. Eleanor looked at it. Are you commanding me? Certainly not. Manipulating me? Not tonight. Bribing me? I considered it. She placed her hand in his. Very well. They moved onto the floor. Around them, nobles whispered. Society tried to understand how Eleanor Harcourt, the penniless daughter of a disgraced man, the woman considered too old, too sharp, and too difficult, had become the future Duchess of Blackmere. They called it luck. They were wrong. Luck had put Adrian's overturned carriage on her road. Everything afterward had been choice. She had helped him before she knew his title, defended the truth when silence was safer, and challenged his power when it became control. And she chose him only after he learned how to offer her a future without taking away her freedom. Adrian turned her beneath the chandeliers. You are thinking. Yes. Dangerous. Usually. What about? Eleanor looked at the man who had once sat bleeding in the snow arguing over 12-year cognac. I was remembering something Aunt Beatrice used to tell me. His expression darkened. What? That no gentleman would ever want a woman like me. Adrian smiled. That slow, dangerous smile she remembered from the tollkeeper's cottage. Perhaps she was right. Eleanor narrowed her eyes. He drew her slightly closer. Fortunately, my love, his voice dropped beside her ear. I have never had much interest in behaving like a gentleman. Eleanor laughed. And this time, when every head in the ballroom turned toward them, she did not lower her voice. She did not lower her eyes. And she did not apologize. Because Eleanor Harcourt had spent 6 years being told that a woman with no money, no reputation, and too much intelligence should make herself smaller if she hoped to survive. Instead, she had done the opposite. She had spoken. She had questioned. She had remembered. She had chosen. And against every piece of brutal social arithmetic she had ever been taught, the numbers had finally added up in her favor.